Greetings comic lovers and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from reviews of comics new and old to history to anecdotes to really wherever our whims take us. Today we return to Gwenpool, Striking Back, number 4. Issue 3 sent me into a tirade, but that won't happen today. Maybe. Probably. So, rejoice! I'm Sasha and we're continuing on with this mini-series that's trying to convince the reader that Gwenpool needs to stick around. Let's see how convincing they get. But before we do, please of course subscribe and leave me a comment. I love reading them and replying to them. Talk to me. The story thus far. Well, firstly, we have a handy dandy playlist, so please check that out if you missed our last video so you can experience them firsthand, secondhand. Firstly, secondhand, yes. However, for those of you who have no time, Cliff Notes. The story has been all over the place. Gwen has discovered a new meta ability to be able to retcon anything, and she used it to break into the Fantastic Four's basement with Deadpool. Why was he there? 'Cause. Then she assaulted Reed in his own home. Next, she set up a tournament with heroes on a beach to fight one another. 'Cause. All of this definitely proves that she should exist. The last issue ended up with her being paired up to fight against the Hulk. So that's where we are, but also in issues 2 and 3, a statement was made, a slight challenge about comic book sales and what boosts them, and it was very salty about how you need to do certain things to ensure sales. You gotta have sex appeal and she sells better when she's bad. Well, I couldn't just let that sit there. I checked it out. I will not let lines making such bold claims just sit. I will investigate. I found the numbers. Comichron has them. They're sales to shops, not to individuals, but nobody tracks sales to individuals, so you only know how many were sent to stores, but not how many actually then transferred into people's hands. Yeah, that's interesting. So I will give you what I have from issue number 2, because that's when they started making claims. Gwenpool Strikes Back issue 2 sold approximately 24,346 copies. Issue 3, 14,080. Issue 4, 12,751. So decline in an ongoing series is completely normal. You're gonna get the most sales in the first issue because people are intrigued. What is this? Number 1, the most important number. And it normally plateaus after a couple of issues. The people who like it stick with it, and then you'll just usually lose a few more along the way. It is rare for comics to re-spike unless something really epic happens, or it's just a really solid run and then people start to hear about it through word of mouth. So yeah, in Gwenpool's case, being bad or having a sexy cover did not do anything. Going dark actually worked for Captain Marvel, but not for Gwenpool. So again, it's an individual case-by-case basis. It doesn't work for everybody. Gwen. Claim refuted with numbers. The cover, like all the covers, is cool. Gwenpool wielding the hammer of Thor, but so far it's the least dynamic of the bunch. Still fun, no slouch covers here. The comic opens with Gwen tapping in Morse code. She has something really important to tell the reader. She's gotta be quiet because the Hulk is on her tail. But suddenly she bursts out of her hiding spot proclaiming, "Could a comic book character do this?" I thought the point of this was that Gwen deserved to be a comic book character full time and stay inside the Marvel universe. So what's the purpose of this whole she's so meta? Is that supposed to make her better? Other comic book characters can't do this, so she should stay? Is that the argument? I don't know. The line seems to conflict with this series' alleged thesis. That, or it's just meant to be a throwaway joke. A tried and true, because the "could they do this" goes way back. The next page features a godly cloud proclaiming itself to be Gwenpool's first writer, Christopher Hastings. He's back to write this one page. He even has a credit on the credits page, just crediting him for this one page that he wrote, which is pretty neat. It's nice that he came back. Fans have a lot of nice things to say about Hastings. So why is he here? What does this one page have to tell us? Nothing at all. He spouts some meta jokes and then the page is over. "There is a secret about the Pool family I hid in your original series that I don't believe anyone has discovered yet. Your father, his name is Ted Pool. Also, your mother's name is Martha, just like Bruce Wayne's and Clark Kent's." It's cute, but it adds nothing to the plot, but instead it adds on to that whole, oh my god, this is so meta layer. This may be the most meta, and that's saying something. This is the most meta issue so far. We got one left, and the last one has a cover of a cosplayer, so we're gonna get deep. Still, for those of you who loved Hastings, there he was. And that was it. So then she runs by screaming to the audience, "Did you see that?" Yeah, I saw it. Also, Quentin Quire, her ex, who she dumped via text in issue 2, is there and he's live streaming it, so I guess he's fine and there were no consequences. Hooray! There is a joke here that actually made me smile. It's when she runs by Black Cat and T'Challa fighting and proclaims it's a cat fight. You know that they're only fighting for that specific joke, but it still made me smile. They got me. Cat fight. So the Hulk smashes Gwen into her white space and she tries to come up with a plan, which ends up being her plucking past iterations of herself in different comics and pulling them into this conflict. All of them. They all show up with labels telling you which comic they're from and also jokey taglines like we did in issue 3 for the Avengers, only they're very specific to the type of characterizations that they're supposed to have had or that allegedly fans have labeled them with. It's not quite clear. It could go either way. I'm not sure how to feel about it. I'm leaning a bit towards it being a slight mockery of fans because of the one that they gave to the Gwen from Rocket Raccoon and Groot. That Gwen is called Manic, Insane, Violent, Woke Idiot, but then the Champions Gwen is called a Hot Dog Ho Tweaker. I'm really not sure how to read this. I'm like, is this supposed to be a connection? Or is this saying that this is what people call them and how dare they? I really can't read the tone. I know it's supposed to be funny, but apparently laughter is dead. That's not true. I laughed at Hal last episode. Oh, also let me finish that. Champions Gwen, Hot Dog Ho Tweaker, Stage 5 Clinger Savant. So here's what I do know. In a way, by bringing all these Gwens here and making them seem as if they all had very distinct personalities, it kind of highlights a potential lack of cohesion in the character, which may be why some had a hard time attaching to her, aside from some of the other reasons, or alternatively the reasons that people are accused of for not liking her. For some, it may just be that every time they saw her, she appeared to have changed a little bit. She was a little different than the Gwen they last saw, and that's something that people even say about the Gwen in this series. They're like, oh, that's not the Gwen I remember from the comic that I liked her in. Hence, should the goal not be to try and unify her with some kind of master version? Use all of these versions to highlight all the aspects people like about Gwen. I mean, if this is a series about showing how amazing she is, this is the time to do it. They're all here. Or is this supposed to be that? Instead, what all of these Gwens do is make meta jokes and be the butts of other meta jokes. So she gives all of them an overhead sim fight bauble and forms a plan. It involves her going to get Thor's hammer, but they talk about this for a while. Also, fun fact, she couldn't recruit Prime Gwen, which is the Gwenpool from the Deadpool variant cover that started it all. Which is actually funny, especially when she calls her so mysterious. And then it gets odd. Marvel, I guess, I don't know. We're gonna get retconned is the thing. Yeah, so someone up top doesn't like me. So I've been given this one last mini-series to demonstrate whether or not I'm worth keeping around to Marvel editorial. These might be the final pages of Gwenpool ever. Okay, I may need to rescind my no rant statement. This woe is me thing is not a cute look, and it's been recurring throughout the issues. So many characters are created and have been over the years, and ultimately the hope is not only that they will connect with fans, but that they will sell. Getting sales is part of comics. Yes, you can still be loved, but if you're not getting the sales to back it up, eventually you will probably fade. And that's not to say forever. Some people have faded and then come back. You can have a huge cosplay presence. How many characters have you seen walking around being cosplayed that really aren't being written anymore or only appear as background, and not just women? This happens. Not all characters survive the test of time. Some are popular for a moment and then their moment ends, or their timeline ends, or there's just a complete universe retcon, or an idea doesn't prove to have the longevity that some people thought it would. And this in no way means that they're bad characters, not at all. It's just not every character makes it. And that's not even to say that Gwen couldn't or shouldn't, but just stating the reality that it happens, and it's not malicious. It's not a vendetta most of the time. Some of the times it is, but when it's a vendetta, characters don't tend to be put on team book to team book to team book and then also given a mini-series to try and keep them around. No, when there's a vendetta against you, you get erased from the timeline and never brought back. Your kids get erased from existence, or you get shot in the head by the KG Beast. Also, if this meta bit is true, someone was like, this isn't working, one last chance kid, you're spending it like this? The last 4 pages has just been them talking and joking about other Gwens, even if this may be someone's first experience with Gwen, so they might not even connect with all of this. And then they spent the last few panels talking about how unfair it is that she may not exist. We're at issue 4 and the plot is still not tied together. And Gwen has still been going around stating why she should exist, but not really showing why. Unless you're a huge fan of meta like this, then she's shown it about 60 times over. Look, I've been given one last shot to prove my worth. Everything I've done has been about saving my life. And so far, it's potentially been working. Also, they then relentlessly mock the Gwen from Rocket and Groot, and they call her Harley Gwen, so shots fired at Harley Quinn as well. Cuz, take that, Harley. So Gwenpool strikes back. Gwen plunges into the timeline to get what she needs to wield the hammer of Thor, and leaves all the other Gwens to fight the Hulk and distract him. 4 out of 5 Gwens agree. Gun violence is bad. Guess which one I am. They have a fake out death with Champions Gwen for the dramatic war death movie parody joke. Remember me for the planes I flew. I can't let that line go. I just can't. That's a cry for justice line, by the way. Also, do you like sex jokes? Well, you better like sex jokes because we got 2 coming up. Of course, I'm gonna read them. You're having a nightmare about a reptile dysfunction, or you're having a sexy time dream, whichever you prefer. I wish I was dreaming about dysfunctional reptiles. Maybe I could be their therapist and help them through their life problems and tell them not to eat me. So Gwen gets the arm that she needs, attaches it to herself so that she can wield the hammer of Thor, catches it, pelts at the Hulk, and that throws him right up into space. All looks good, but then it's revealed that Gwen has one last person to fight. Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan. Kick her butt, Kamala. Use the biggest hands. So this was issue 4 of 5. Now, minis are obviously different experiences when read all together as opposed to being read issue to issue. And it is potentially possible that maybe this one was written for the trade. Some people do write like that these days, with the idea that one day it's just gonna be collected at once and you're just gonna read it in a chunk. So it is conceivable that issue 5 could appear and cement all of this together and be the glue that fully showcases Gwen's I deserve to exist thesis. I sure hope so, because so far this series has been all over the place. Zany comic is zany. I'm reserving further judgment till 5. What did all of you think? Are you still with Gwen? Did you find all the other Gwens endearing and cute? Do you feel like she struck anything? Well, I mean, she did in this, the Hulk. I'm Sasha. Thanks so much for watching Casually Comics. Please do all of the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so that you never miss a vid. And I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.